Now that we have looked at how to find the correlation coefficient in order to determine the strength and the direction of the relationship, we'll do the same thing with a graph. A simple scatter plot will give us much the same information that the correlation coefficient did. From a scatter plot, you can determine both the strength and direction of the relationship. However, the strength determination is not as accurate as looking at the R value or correlation coefficient. In order to do this, once your data is open, we're going to explore the use of a chart builder. Now, there's actually a few ways to graph a scatter plot in SPSS, but we'll take a look at the chart builder for this particular example. We find this by looking in the Graphs menu and choosing Chart Builder. It does give you an information where the levels of measurement should be set properly. These should all be predefined because you are loading data sets in from the actual textbook, so it's okay just to hit OK. If you think they're not properly defined, you can define them, but we should be good to go. The chart builder allows you to build a chart piece by piece and get a preview of what it's going to look like before you actually commit to it. It's a great way to have fun editing things and seeing what's going to happen. We're going to create a scatter plot or a dot plot and choose the very first option, just a simple scatter plot. And we're going to choose that by dragging it up to the chart preview area or the builder area. Now, once we're here, we have some different variables we can play with. I am going to use the speed of the swimmer, the 50-yard swim time, to predict how much they can bench. So speed is going to go on my x-axis, or my independent variable, and strength on my y. I could just drag them into the boxes to set that variable. Now you have a scatter plot that graphs each point. For example, our first swimmer swam a 50-yard in 21.6 seconds and could bench 135 pounds. So SPSS graphed that point, 21.6 on the x-axis and 135 on the y, and dropped a little circle down. And it did this for each of the swimmers. Now, you can go ahead and play with some of the options in terms of parameters and ideas like that, but we don't need to get that fancy. The big thing is going to be careful to put each variable on the correct axis. Independent variable on the x-axis, dependent variable on the y-axis. Now we hit OK. SPSS will do its thing. It does take a second, and it puts it in the output window. Now you can see I have my graph here, and it's got a little bit more in terms of labeling. You can see the actual values, which you couldn't see in the chart builder. And we have each data point. Now what this tells us as we look at the overall trend going from left to right is that there is a positive relationship. As we move from left to right, we kind of notice a little bit of an upward trend. But it's not very linear in nature. These points are not really grouping along a line very nicely, so it is a very weak relationship, which is information we also found by looking at the correlation coefficient, or R value. Both are very valuable when it comes to examining the connection or correlation in variables, so it's good to understand both methods.